The running back goes running back number one for the first time since 1995.
Yeah, you know what? Saquon is the best guy on the board. I think that you have to go there for the Cleveland Browns. You have to add talent. You have a quarterback in Tyrod Taylor. Some people call him your bridge guy. I call him a drought breaker, a drought ender, whatever you want to call it. You put another talented guy behind him. I think Cleveland's on his way to making the playoffs with this pick.
Last guy who was a running back to go number one overall, Kajana Carter to the Cincinnati Bengals. That was 1995.
That was a long time ago.
It didn't work. He also got hurt a lot. All right, that means the quarterbacks are all there, and Josh Rosen's going to be a Giant.
Well, I think here, the Giants are ready to win now, so they need a guy that's not a project, a guy that can step in and play. He may sit if Eli plays well early on. If he doesn't, he can go right in and make plays. And this is the offense that he's used to, a West Coast-style offense that he ran with Jed Fish and Kennedy Pola at UCLA. Get the ball out quick, get it to your playmakers, and he's smart enough to make the adjustments that you want to make in these type of offenses.
You ever seen Mike McCagnon do handstands? Because Sam Darnold is there at 3 for the Jets.
Well, for me, this pick is huge. I think you get a guy who plays big in big games, a guy who's not afraid of the lights, has all the traits that everyone talks about, a strong arm, mobile, and he's a locker room guy. He can kind of change that locker room, what they've been wanting to do for a long time there in New York.
Because you said you want to anger Bucky, we go Barkley, Rosen, Darnold.
That didn't anger Bucky.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry at the top. Like, Saquon Barkley to me is the best player in the draft. So for him to go number one, I can see that. However, in reality, most teams won't bypass a quarterback, particularly a team that doesn't have a quarterback, to go with the running back. And so to bypass on Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, whoever you deem to be the number one pick, I just don't think it's likely. The Cleveland Browns have not had a quarterback in eons, since Brian Sipe, Bernie Kosar. It's time to get him a quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor.
Get him a quarterback.
You forget
Taylor's
Derek
the
Anderson's
guy.
beautiful 2007.
It was a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah.
Look, I was there for that.
I know.
To me, this comes down to Tyrod Taylor. This is what this mock draft is all about, because I view Tyrod Taylor as a bridge quarterback, as I think most people do. Maurice views it as a building block, so there's a big difference in thinking there. That's why you went with the best player, which is Saquon Barkley. I just think they have to go quarterback, because I don't view Tyrod Taylor. I think he's a bridge.
For me, most of these quarterbacks are developmental guys. So if you're going to take a developmental guy at one, that means you're going to have to play early. Kind of shortens your window for the Browns a little bit.
That's why you have a bridge, because Tyrod is the bridge.
We know how
Gives me a
bridges
little bit
work,
of time.
though. They tend to fall apart if you don't win early.
I think the bigger thing is not even Saquon Barkley going to number one. Josh Rosen over Sam Darnold. Most people have said that Sam Darnold is the consensus number one quarterback.
But you on NFL.com say Josh Rosen should be the guy.
I know, but I'm saying.
I feel the same way that most people feel about Sam Darnold. My only concerns are turnovers. With Josh Rosen, I know he's had turnover issues and injury issues as well. But when you talk to people at the Combine, they said he killed the meetings. There was nothing that they could tell him or ask him to do that he didn't do well. There's stories about him going out and changing playbooks and being able to adjust at the line of scrimmage. How many quarterbacks have we seen do that since Peyton Manning come out in the draft?
Not many.
Not many.
Not many. Charlie Casserly here with us. Charlie, who do you think the Browns should go number one with?
Sam Darnold, okay? They better get a quarterback. If they don't get a quarterback, they may run the new regime right out of town. Too much of a risk if you don't take one here, but there is one here. Sam Darnold. Now, to me, he has the least issues of any quarterback in this draft. The positives, here's I see him. The guy's smart. He's got good vision. Guy's got a nice touch on the football. He can make all the throws. Not the top arm, but good enough. And he can make plays outside the pocket. He's clean off the field. There's no issues. There's no physical issues. Guy's smart. He's a leader. He called it from the line of scrimmage. He called the protections this year. Now, the weaknesses. I said he doesn't have a top arm, but he's got a good enough NFL arm. Turnovers. I charted every interception he had this year. Most of them come early in the year. You can look at the stats. But when you watch the plays, he's forcing the ball. He's trying to make plays. That we got to adjust. But as we adjust that, then this guy's smart enough to cut those turnovers way down. So, Darnold.
I'm with you, Charlie. I think Darnold is the best option. And when you look at those turnovers early in the year, breaking in some new receivers, some of those 50-50 balls you saw Juju Smith-Schuster and Derrius Rogers make the year before. They did not make these guys this year early in the season, weren't making those plays. They got some other receivers in the mix. You saw him take off. The fumbles, to me, are the one hang-up with Sam Darnold. I think that's an easy fix, just keeping that offhand on the ball inside the pocket. I think everywhere else, to me, he checks every box.
I think the biggest thing for Sam Darnold is the guy that you're getting. I think when you're looking for a franchise quarterback, you're looking to find someone that you can believe in. I think his personality, his work ethic, his toughness, and his blue-collar demeanor is a really, really good fit in Cleveland.
Yeah, I hear so much about off-the-field stuff. I mean, to me, this is about winning and being on the field. I think Barkley gives the Browns the best chance to win right now. They've been in a rebuilding stage for 10 years. You need to win now. Sam Darnold's going to come in and sit, like you said, a bridge guy, maybe a year or two, and then you'll be able to put him in and play. That doesn't give you the best chance to win. You need to put players around your team with that to create a culture, to create a winning attitude, a winning culture there to win. If I'm the Browns, I want to win today. We've set up for that.
They haven't had a quarterback since '99. They've been trying to find this guy forever. They've traded all these picks. You're sitting right there. You're sitting right there.
I understand that. I understand that. And you passed on to the last 2 years. I get that. But who says these guys are going to be the guys?
We say this every year.
I just don't know who says these guys are going to be the guy.
Every year. And every year we look back and go, man, they could have had this guy or that guy.
Time out. There are still quarterbacks on the board. All right, Rosen is gone. Darnold is gone. The Browns are next up on the clock.
They definitely can take one.
They could go quarterback because they have the 4th overall pick. Maurice Jones-Drew, however, gives them Bradley Chubb.
Again, this is about winning now. You have 2 edge rushers come off the edge. How many teams? I played in the AFC South when there was Freeney and Mathis. The reason the Colts were winning wasn't because they had a dominant defense, because they can get to the quarterback. Here, you get an excellent pass rusher next to Myles Garrett. I mean, a young defensive line that's going to be phenomenal for years to come. You're winning now. It's all about winning now in this mock draft. That's why it's called Mock Draft Fire. We want to win right now.
But they passed on the quarterbacks the last 2 years. They passed on Deshaun Watson last year. They go Bradley Chubb after taking Myles Garrett number 1 overall, which takes us to number 5 in the Denver Broncos. They're going quarterback. Or are they not? Trade alert. Here come the Buffalo Bills giving up 12 and 22, and they go Josh Allen.
Listen, strong arm quarterback, can throw the ball in any type of weather. That's what they're looking for up there in Buffalo. You're going to have wins. You're going to deal with a lot of things. He's a developmental guy, a project guy, but again, Tyrod Taylor wasn't good enough for this organization. They want someone with a stronger arm, more pocket presence. You get your guy here. You trade up. You're going to use the 12 and the 22nd pick to move up. You get those, and you get your guy. Now you're locked in, ready to go.
So Josh Allen goes to Buffalo as Brandon Beane gets aggressive, and that's the 5th overall pick. Remember, the Colts had traded down, and so they at 6, MJD.
Protect your quarterback.
Quentin Nelson, the guard from Notre Dame. Derwin James is a Buccaneer. Florida guy stays home. They need DB help. And then at number 8, you're going Mike McGlinchey here for the Bears. Lance Zierlein, let's get on the hype train. Who are you hyping there on those first 8?
I'm going to hype my man. MJD knows who I'm going to hype up. Sam Darnold, the next. There it is.
You guys are crazy.
Blow the whistle. Sam Darnold, the next Andrew Luck, going to New York City. What a perfect fit with the Jets. If the Jets have their shot to get Sam Darnold, this thing is going to really start to turn around for Mike McCagnon. And frankly, he needs something like this to happen in his favor. Whoever the 3rd pick is, he needs to hit it. But Sam Darnold's one of the rare guys in this draft, I think, from a quarterback standpoint, who can stand up to the rigors of New York City fans and New York City media. I love this pick if he happens to be there at number 3.
I'm with you on that, Lance. I'll add Derwin James to the mix, too. I just love what he brings to the table from a temperament, personality standpoint. There goes
yeah, get it going.
To me, giving you that physical presence in the middle of the field, and I just love being around the guy. He's intense. He's all about ball. He'll be a big-time player.
I mean, I love Derwin James going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Sam Darnold going to the Jets as well. But I'm going on Bradley Chubb to the Cleveland Browns, because even though we can talk about the Cleveland Browns needing quarterback, how about just going to get the best player available? And this is one of the best players available in this draft. Saquon Barkley's number 1. Bradley Chubb is my number 2. Putting him opposite Myles Garrett, you now have a real defense in the dog pound. I love it. Back-to-back guys that can come off the edge. I believe that's how you get it done to AFC North.
Yeah, I'm going to hype everybody in the top 8 because I did it. So I like all those picks.
Do we need 8 train?
No, you just need one. At the end of the day, I felt like everything I did was for that organization either to move forward, not to have a developmental guy. You talk about the Jets with McCown. You get Darnold. You can kind of plug him in, play him right now. Obviously, the same with Rosen. When you go down the list, even with the Bears, you're trying to do everything to protect your quarterback. Protect your quarterback now with a tackle who can block for you. And his offensive line coach is there coaching right now with the Bears, so you're good.
We had a running back go first. The Browns have selected twice. They still do not have a quarterback. Josh Allen is a Bill after they trade up. Nelson, James, and McGlinchey 6 through 8, which takes us to number 9, which takes us to Josh Jackson from Iowa to San Francisco.
Yeah, a guy, again, similar to Richard Sherman, a guy who played wide receiver at first, gets moved to corner, great ball skills, and plays great in zone coverages and willing to take chances. Very smart player. I think it fits well here.
Love me some Roquan Smith, by the way. The Raiders do too.
Well, this is all about film. This has nothing to do with what he did in the combine. He's an undersized guy, yes, but he hits like a truck. He has instincts. He finds his way to the ball. And as you see here, when he hits you, you feel it. And that's what you're looking for in Oakland, a guy to be that leader in the middle of the field.
And we have a trade. Instead of the Dolphins, we have the Packers on the clock, and they're going Denzel Ward.
This one's for Bucky Brooks. I know, the Packers are more conservative in this situation, but they need corner help. You get Denzel Ward, he falls here because of fit issues. This guy can play on special teams, can cover anybody. An undersized guy, but guess what? He's a playmaker, and that's what you want.
Not the tallest guy in the world, but nor am I. Nor are you.
Or me.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Daniel Jeremiah, let's get a scout's eye in here.
All right, time for a scout's eye presented by Verizon. And let's talk a little Denzel Ward, bringing our buddy Lance here. Lance, you get a chance to study Ward. I know me and Bucky talk about him a lot on our podcast. I know you're a fan of his as well.
Yeah, I think he's the best corner in the draft. He is an elite athlete, and that gets thrown around a lot. But not only does he have great straight line speed, he is really fluid. He has the ability to mirror and match just about any type of wide receiver that you can imagine. So I know he's not the biggest guy, but he can match up outside. He can match up from the slot. And what I really love about him is that he is just so competitive when the ball is in the air. When you have that athleticism, that level of competitiveness, and then his ability to stay connected to routes because of route recognition and the way that he studies the game. I mean, there's a lot to love about him. If he were 6'1", even 6 feet tall, I think we'd be talking about him as a top 5 player this year.
I think he's an outstanding player. He's really a world-class athlete with a junkyard dog mentality. And when I think about what he could be at the next level, really reminds me of the LA Chargers cornerback, Jason Verrett. When you look at Verrett coming out of TCU, he was a guy that could really get up in you, could do a great job of putting his hands on you. And as he's continued to evolve as a pro, he can play off, he can play press, he can get after the ball, can take out your number ones. When he's healthy, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. I see Denzel Ward being a similar player.
No, I like that one. I'm going to go old school, though. Remember Adam Pac-Man Jones coming out of West Virginia? I loved his game when you studied him in college. We actually had him as best player in the draft that year when I was in Baltimore. He's got that feistiness, that toughness. He plays bigger than his size. I just love the athlete that he is, Buck.
I mean, look, when you think about what Pac-Man Jones was coming out of West Virginia, he was a top 5 player. He was a guy that was a dominant player. And so for Denzel Ward, that puts him in elite company, 2 Pro Bowl players. I think he's certainly worthy of being that.
All right, that was a Scout's Eye presented by Verizon. Send it back to Andrew.
Adam Jones, also one of the top 5 reaction shots of all time on draft day, where he stood on top of the car and held his arms up. Hey, Baker Mayfield is there at 12. Look at that. Baker Mayfield, MJD, has going 12 to the Broncos. Remember, they traded down from 5. Tremaine Edmonds, Minkah Fitzpatrick going 13 and 14. Edmonds is still going to be a teenager on draft night. Isaiah Wynn and Harold Landry, 15-16 instead of a quarterback. The Ravens go with a pass rusher there out of BC. But I want to focus on the quarterback here because that's what we do. It is the shiny object here. MJD, yes. Charlie Casserly. Charlie, Baker Mayfield out of the top 10. Some see him as high as potentially number 3 to the Jets. Do you think he's worth a top 10 pick?
I do, and here's why. When you grade players, you put a round on them in your mind, and then you go look up previous drafts and you compare. Jerry Goff, first player taken in the draft, I think he's better than Goff. I think he's a better leader, and he's got a better arm strength. Now, I'm not advocating for him to be number 1 in the draft. Ryan Tannehill went 8. Blake Bortles went 3. He's better than both of those guys coming out of college. And then when you get 10 to 20, Patrick Mahomes, I have him ahead of Mahomes because I think he has better pocket discipline than Mahomes coming out of college. Blaine Gabbert, he's better than him coming out of college at 10. Ponder, 12, better than him coming out of college. Finally, Deshaun Watson went at 12. I think he's a more accurate passer from the pocket than Deshaun Watson was coming out. So that's my rationalization. You go to history, history says this guy's a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I think he has the ability to be in the top 10. You just have to be comfortable with him. I think his height becomes an issue when you look at Russell Wilson, what he was able to do, rolling out of the pocket, being able to throw through the pocket. Drew Brees as well. I think those are some of the issues as well that you have to look to. But when Baker Mayfield, he does have the intangibles to be the guy. It just has to be a fit purpose. The Broncos like to roll their quarterbacks outside, Andrew. So I think with that being said, that's why I have him going there at 12.
All right, let's keep the party going here, Maurice. We're sitting here at pick number 17 with the Los Angeles Chargers. What direction you want to go here?
Well, we just saw the guy, Vita. He's going to go in there, play defensive tackle. They struggled against the run, so now you get a run stopper, 2-gapper, plays that nose, does a good job. Gus Bradley, you're welcome.
let's get to the Seahawks here. You want to stay in the Pac-12 here? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the Pac-12. Isaiah Oliver, long corner, fits that again, that long cover 3 mold, guy who can bat the ball down, great ball skills, you like it. I think that fits them well.
Legit track background with him as well. All right, the Cowboys, where are we going here?
Listen, they need receiver help. That's what it comes down to. You want to help your young
right
quarterback. Calvin Ridley is the guy I have going there. And the reason being is he tracks the ball well. Now, some people say he can't catch. He has some issues catching the ball. What I've seen, he's a playmaker.
Well, to me, Buck, and you know this as well as Maurice knows this, when you have a run game like they do, to be able to pay that off with big shots down the field, I think Calvin Ridley would be a great fit for the Cowboys.
Calvin Ridley gives them something they don't have. That's a pure route runner. You talk about Dak Prescott wanting to get back on track. The best way to do it is give him a number 1 receiver that's going to be at the spot that he expects him to be every time. Calvin Ridley is that guy. Disciplined, detailed, polished. He's a touchdown maker.
That play there is what kind of excited me. A guy who could take slants to the house. That's what you want.
That's like some Odell Beckham stuff right there. We've seen him do that with the Giants over the last few years. I think he'd be a big-time playmaker for this offense. Been saying it all offseason, get faster. This offense needs to get faster. I think Calvin Ridley definitely helps them in that regard. All right, let's keep it moving here, though. We got the Lions here at 20.
Listen, Ziggy Ansah's on the last year as a franchise tag guy. Go ahead and get your coach's baby. Marcus Davenport, his D-line coach, is now in Detroit. Same mode. A guy who is long, athletic, bend the edge. He can learn a little bit and go. When you go to the Bengals, though, they need offensive line. I talked to Joe Mixon about it. They're trying to help him out, help that offense out. Will Hernandez, you talk about junkyard dog, that guy will do it, whatever it takes to win the play.
He's fun to watch. Now, he's kind of like the lighter version, a little lighter version of Quentin Nelson. What you see him do at Notre Dame, Will Hernandez does at UTEP.
Physical offensive line they would have in place with Will Hernandez.
All right, couple
Broncos,
more here.
you go Da'Ron Payne, Malik Jackson That's what I think of him when you put him in that offense, a guy who can get pressure up the middle. They need a little help there. Help those edge rushers out. Help Von out a little bit. He can't be Superman all the time. When you go to the Patriots, it's Mike Hughes. Return guy, corner, plays man-to-man very well, athletic. He can do a lot, something that Bill Belichick loves. And obviously, at 24, there's one guy left, Derrius Guice. And the reason being is when you're in the NFC South, you have to run the ball. I don't think McCaffrey's a guy that can carry the ball 25 times a game. He's more of an explosive X-guy. You put him out at wide receiver, you find a way to get him touches. You put Guice there, 225 pounds. He can run the ball downhill, help Cam out as well.
2 of my favorite running backs, Derrius Guice, Christian McCaffrey. The problem is, can you go back-to-back first-round picks and running back?
Why not?
Running backs are supposed to be devalued. Don't diminish.
No, not at all. If you want to win, ask the Saints.
I go back to the Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams. Might be a nice little combo.
Oh, you were part of that.
Curtis Samuel.
I was a part of that. Okay.
Curtis Samuel's kind of been more of a slot for them. So actually, I kind of dig this. I haven't really thought much about Derrius Guice with the Carolina Panthers. Maurice, that's what you do. You see, you make us rethink everything when you come on here.
Listen, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to give running backs a chance. This kid here is a playmaker. Not only can he catch the ball at the backfield, he is your downhill back, and that's what they're missing right now. You let Jonathan Stewart go. I know they like Cameron Artis-Payne, but this is the guy you want right now.
I'm surprised we didn't see more running backs in that list. Andrew, back over to you.
All right. Shocking, the running backs, get everything here. Let's dare to compare, shall we? And bring in Charlie and Lance. We have 24, a Carolina Panther now. Derrius Guice. Lance, who do you compare him to in the NFL?
I compare him to Marshawn Lynch. I think his running style is very similar. And if you go back and look at when he was healthy in 2016, I think you'll see it. Elite balance through contact. He can take contact, wiggle around, spin through it, balance himself against contact, and keep the run going. He can create for himself through some elusiveness, but also through that balance, contact, and power. I really like his mindset as a runner, too. Extremely physical as a runner, and the type of guy I think that fits into a will-imposing running game. I think he has a lot of similarities to Marshawn Lynch.
Charlie, give me a Calvin Ridley comparison. Cowboys taking him, MJD has him at 19.
Well, I'll tell you what, MJD. First of all, you think Gus Bradley's happy? Hey, Jerry Jones is going to hug you. He's going to be really happy getting this guy sitting there. All right. I like this guy because I like his speed. I like his athletic ability. He can run all the routes. I do differ. I think this guy is about a 75% catcher and doesn't catch the contested ball well when he's up high as far as physical. But he makes you defend the play and he catch him. Now, 15 to 22 is, I think, his range. Corey Coleman went to the Browns at 15. He's better than him. Brandon Cooks went at 20. Cooks is better than him. However, Nelson Aguilar went at 20. I think it's a comparison. I'd take this guy ahead of him because I like the speed better than Aguilar, but they're both going to drop some footballs. So 15 to 22. Now we go to the NFL. Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn was a top 10 pick. This guy can run. Ridley can run. Ted Ginn, he's about a 75% catcher, so that's where the comparison is. Ridley's better. Ridley can run the routes better, more fluid, I think, and more versatile. But speed, and you're going to have to live with some balls that aren't going to be caught.
Well, you know what? The speed sometimes makes up for those occasional drops. So how about that? Ted Ginn, that last comparison for Calvin Ridley. This is buy or beware. Not buy-er, but buy or beware. This is Maurice Jones-Drew's mock draft. Mock Draft Live presented to you by Verizon Up. I'm Andrew Siciliano, Lance Zierlein, Charlie Casserly here as well. Your first quarterback was Josh Rosen,
Yes.
2 to the Giants. Charlie, buy or beware for Rosen?
Buy, but keep the receipt. Now, we may have
Come
a return
on now.
this one,
Hold
okay?
on now.
That's right. Alex Sanchez, our segment producer, gave me an idea, and I love it. Buy. Hey, everybody says this guy's the most pro-ready quarterback. I agree. Guy's great from the pocket. He can go in and play right now. He's got everything you're looking for. He's got a better arm than Mr. Darnold. He's got terrific accuracy. He doesn't turn the ball over. Very, very smart. We said that. However, when that return receipt comes in, well, I don't know about his leadership. I don't know about his durability.
always keep the
and his
receipt.
personality. That's right. There you go. Didn't you
Listen.
ever return anything?
No.
You can't return a quarterback.
You can't return a quarterback. And the reason I have him as my number one guy is because we have a personal story to give you. My high school is probably the top program that ever in high school sports history, De La Salle High School. Josh Rosen took St. John Bosco and beat my high school, not by a little bit, but by a lot of bit, if that's a word.
I'm talking
about 65 points, kept putting his foot on the gas, and when I saw that, it's called respect. He didn't want to let up. He didn't want to give De La Salle a chance to come back. A quarterback, when you have that means he's willing to push his guys to go a little bit further. That's why I have him there. I saw it at UCLA, and I'm seeing it again now. I think he'll be fine.
Love how you go back to the old high school tape.
You got to go all the way
say
back.
You love Josh Rosen, you respect him, you would buy him, and you would throw away the receipt. Lance, what about MJD has Baker Mayfield 12 after a trade down to the Broncos? Buy or beware with Mayfield?
Well, I'm going to say beware on this one, but for two reasons. Number one, I don't think Baker makes it all the way to 12. I don't think he would get past Miami at 11, first of all. But the second thing is, I just don't know that I could buy into John Elway adding a second small quarterback to go with Case Keenum. That would be 2 small quarterbacks on the same roster for a guy like John Elway. I'm just not sure I'm seeing that either. But first and foremost, I don't think Baker makes it all the way to number 12. I just think he's off the board by then.
Lance, I definitely hear you, but their big quarterback in Denver ain't really doing too much, so you might as well try to get 2 small guys. Kind of makes the show go
See
a
how
little
this
bit
works
better.
here? Yeah, that's the system, the small quarterback system, so he would fit.
No question.
Yeah. All right, just a thought.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, of course. It's height jokes. Thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
Thank you, Lance. Daniel Jeremiah. Let's go Scout versus Scout, shall we?
Oh, it's your favorite animation.
God,
There it
same
is.
Animation, there it is.
Bucky
Can we
DJ,
update
Scout
it?
versus Scout. You heard the little ding in the boxing gloves. Got 2 topics, as we always do here, Buck. First one, going off of Maurice's mock draft here, the 12th pick, should the Denver Broncos take Baker Mayfield if they trade back to that 12th spot?
No. They shouldn't take Baker Mayfield at number 12 because Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum are basically the same guy. Why invest a top pick in a guy that you already have on your roster, committed to finding the best player available? Find a defensive lineman, find a corner, find someone that can help your defense because that's the strength of your team. Fortify the strength. Get back to the play.
Well, look, I have him, I think it's the 13th player in the draft, so this is really the sweet spot for me in terms of value. And when I look at this situation with the Broncos, you traded back, you got a couple picks, so I think you've got a shot here. Take a shot on a quarterback. You've got pick number 22. You can go a little more conservative there, but take your shot. I don't think anybody views Case Keenum as that long-term solution. I think Baker Mayfield could be that guy.
He could be that guy. But let's move on to another topic. Who is the second best edge rusher in this draft? Not Bradley Chubb, but after Bradley Chubb, who is the next guy that should be a dominant player?
Well, there's some interesting options, but to me, it's pretty clear. It's Marcus Davenport from UTSA. And when you look at Marcus Davenport, really just watch him at the Senior Bowl week. Saw what he was day one, and then look at the improvement he made by the time you got to the game where he was wrecking shop. You see here, Just a violent, explosive player, Buck. Size, length, he has everything. He's not there right now, but he's going to get there.
He definitely has some developmental potential, but when I'm looking for a pass rusher, I'm looking for a more skilled guy. I believe Harold Landry from Boston College is that guy. When I look at him play at Boston College, I love the snap count anticipation, the bend and burst, the violent finish. I believe he consistently gets the quarterback down. And even though he had a subpar performance his final season, when you go back and look at his junior year, 16.5 sacks, dominant off the edge, he shows some elite traits. I'm willing to buy into the traits and the production they displayed so far.
He's a good player. I'm just buying the bigger package. Bigger, longer, a little bit more explosive with Marcus Davenport. We'll have to wait and find out. We'll see where these guys go. The draft is going to be here in no time, Andrew.
And Maurice Jones-Drew, who takes, shockingly, a running back at number 1. Then Rosen and Darnold to New York. Josh Allen, the other quarterback, off the board early after the Bills trade up. Josh Jackson to the Niners at 9. Denzel Ward is a Packer after the Dolphins and the Packers make a swap there, 11 and 14. Ravens don't go quarterback nor offense. They go Harold Landry at 16. But wait, there's more. Vita is a Charger. Calvin Ridley is a Cowboy. Will Hernandez is a road grader in Cincinnati. And Derrius Guice, with the Panthers going running backs back-to-back drafts in the first round, is heading to Carolina. MJD, that takes us to Tennessee, and Harrison Phillips at 25.
Yes, well, Vrabel's there in Tennessee, now the head coach. When they were dominant in New England, they had first-round picks around that offensive line. Harrison Phillips, with that wrestling background, can come in and take double teams and free up some space for those edge rushers.
Free up some space. Number 25, Harrison Phillips, was a blast in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Maurice Hurst, healthy and going 26th. Then Hubbard and Evans. You give your Jaguars Jair Alexander out of Louisville.
You lost a really good corner in Colvin. You put a better one here now with Alexander, a guy, you always need 3 corners in this game. Everyone's in 11 personnel. And then we got to talk about the Vikings. Orlando Brown, that's just a gamer. That's just a gamer, guys. I don't know what else to tell you.
Son of Zeus at 30, and then Colton Miller, the UCLA tackle,
fight.
going 31 to the Patriots. Why do we only have 31 picks, though?
Because we got a trade alert, Andrew.
Ding, ding,
Oh,
ding.
yeah.
So no quarterback at 1 and 4, and this is the master plan because you have them coming back into 32.
That's right. Go ahead, bounce back in like you did last year. Get to 32, get your quarterback, get a 5th-year option on this guy, and see what you can do. He's a dynamic playmaker. You need that. You need a guy that's going to be able to create some first downs, touchdowns, dynamic plays with his legs as well with his arm. A lot of people, you know what, he didn't throw well at the combine, all right? That's okay. When you watch his tape, he puts the ball on the money when he can step up, and what I really like about him is he doesn't look to run. He looks to throw. When he's scrambling, he's looking to throw. This guy here, I think he helps change your culture as well. Becomes a winning culture in Cleveland. You're welcome.
All right, before we dig in a little bit deeper here, let's take a look at where our colleague Mike Mayock has the top 5 quarterbacks. You see Darnold, Allen, Rosen, Mayfield, and tied for 5th, Lamar Jackson and Mason Rudolph, a quarterback some people think could find his way into the bottom of round 1 as well. But this is something I think we've got to dig a little deeper here. I think I got to bring in Bucky here. Bucky, give me your thoughts on this one. He's bold.
So, no,
He's
here's
bold.
what I love the player.
It's a little sugar on top.
It's
That's
a
all
little
it is.
sugar on top. I love the player because I think the player is definitely a first-round player. I don't like the fit with the Cleveland Browns just because I just don't think the personnel, the coaching staff can nurture him and really use him the way that he needs to be used to really succeed at a high level in the league. When I think about Lamar Jackson, I think about the ultimate dual-threat quarterback, someone that reminds me of a young Michael Vick. This is a guy in college twice passed for 3,500 yards, rushed for 1,500 yards in a single season. So he brings a lot to the table. I just worry that the offensive coordinator, is he creative enough to create an offense that allows him to utilize all the skills that he brings to the table and doesn't slow him down by giving him a lot of verbiage? If you do that, I think you win. I just don't know if Todd Haley's that guy.
I don't know, and to be honest, I really don't care. I think when you put him in this situation, you put him around Jarvis Landry, Gordon, Barkley. I mean, now all of a sudden you have Tyrod there, who is a mobile guy like so. They're going to have to do some of this stuff. Now you can expand on that when he's ready to come in. I think this just works out. Now the Browns become a threat both offensively and defensively with the first round of this draft. You know, anytime anyone needs any help in the boardroom, feel free to call me.
You've got him, your
Hit me up on
services. We'll
DM.
get your number. We'll tweet out your phone number so everybody can get a hold of you if they need your services. Look, to me, I go back to the very beginning of the mock draft. I think you've got a chance with the number 1 overall pick to get your top quarterback in the draft. They've waited and tried to find these guys. The number 22 pick has been awful for them when you go through their history. And now they're trying it again at the bottom.
That's why I gave them 32.
You just went back 10 picks just to switch it up on them.
Hey, listen, I get it. 22 pick has been hard.